we did want to show, people who want to make a film that you can do it, right? Like it is like you can just do it on your own. And we have been doing a full feature on our own with like our own gear. Um, but like I think the whole essence of what I'm trying to say is that like if you're gonna tell yourself like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to make a movie with my gear," it's a massive task, and it's not just something to like lightly casually be like, "Yeah, we're going to make a movie." I think that seems obvious in nature, but it's not. Like it's incredibly challenging, and I think that's like one of the main reasons that a lot of people don't get into it at all. Like they always are. Everyone that I'm talking to, like the person I'm talking to is the person that's like sitting at home watching this video saying, I too want to be a filmmaker. And I too kind of know how to make videos. I've been doing this my whole life. Or I too kind of know how to write scripts. Or I think I'm pretty good at it. I know I could be a filmmaker. But you're not making films, right? You're not making any sort of movie. And the idea of making a movie is so frankly like far out of reality that like you're never gonna make the jump to do it because you're thinking like, yeah, people get into Hollywood. I don't know. The whole industry is changing. AI's going on. What the heck is going on? Do I write a script? Do I find things? Dean is sitting next to me. I'm sitting next to him. We were both in the same spot. We were playing basketball one day and we were having this conversation about what are we going to do? And we just decided like,
well, we had even like worked on other scripts thinking that like we were a lot like I think the people that we're trying to talk about that were like, oh, we'd like to, even the first time we met, it was like, oh, I want to make a short film. I want to do narrative because you were very much in
a short
video.
film. Like, what are you going to make a short film and then you're going to submit that somewhere? And like, I know that happens to people that they send it and then like something big happens to them.
Oh, well, I think there's like another point as well that we talk about. Like don't start because you think it will lead to some big thing for you. Like if that's the reason why you're thinking about doing it is because of a career or whatever, that's like kind of a weird
the cold hard reality is that nothing grand is gonna happen to you. Like I'm not trying to be a negative person, but like if you're just thinking you're going to get this big break to where like all of a sudden you're going to make some sort of a thing that causes you to be like some big filmmaker where like you're almost looking for like fame. Like if you want to make a movie, you can just make a movie. You can just make a shitty movie, essentially. It doesn't have to be that good. The reality is like, accept that like the entire process of it would be a miracle if you just took a stab at making a feature film and it was good. Like, and I mean good, like your standards of good, other people's standards of good. I think that
I think it's like we talk about all the time. It's quite miraculous that we've even got as far as we have with the whole situation, the amount of luck that it's taken or perseverance and personal things we've went through along the way.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is that like, if you're sitting at home and you're that type of person that you're like, I want to do this, like, okay, the only thing that is preventing you from doing this thing is just yourself not making a crazy, unrealistic,
reckless
decision. Yeah. Completely stupid, like crazy decision to say, well, I am going to do it. Okay, so let's say hypothetically, let's go down that path. You're like, okay, I am going to do it. Well, luckily for us, there were two of us. And we both had this idea and we were like, we are going to do it, right? Let's start there. Let's say you want to do it. If you want to do it on your own, go for it. But there's no benefit of doing it on your own besides
And first of all, if you do want to do it, we shouldn't be like scaring you right now. If you do want to do it, you totally should. It will be like the coolest thing that you've ever done.
It's cool. It's cool, but I'm today incredibly stressed about it. I'm incredibly stressed about thinking that it isn't going to be as good as I want it to be, maybe. And I need to, relax a little bit. But that's another thing. We're in the post process, and I'm just like a little worried about like, is this gonna work? Is this all gonna? So if you want to do it, let's say you want to go down this path of doing something that is very hard. It's kind of it's a mountain of things that you need to do. You need to write the whole thing. Just writing the thing is incredibly hard. Just writing a scene is incredibly hard. Now you want to write a whole feature, right? You want to do all this stuff. What I'm trying to say with these two people thing is it's going to take you so many days to work on this, and so much agony and pain, and like there are also really good things that like you want to call up your friend and be like, dude, I can't believe we did that. Like, or you want someone else who has the problem with you. Like, it's like, gosh, she canceled, she's not coming, like what are we gonna do? It's not just like, what am I gonna do? Because there's also this accountability factor of like, we got to keep going with this thing. We made a promise to ourselves that we were going to finish making a movie. And that's just a cold, hard promise to yourself. I told myself it's going to be so easy for me, because I also have a business where I make videos for clients, that I'm definitely going to get to the point to where I'm like, Dean's calling me about this feature film. Like, I can't be toying around with this feature film. This isn't making me any money. In fact, this is draining all my money and all of my brain and my time with I have a newborn son and a wife. And like, it's just like, oh God, I knew that if I didn't tell myself it's a promise to myself and Dean, look him in the face and say, I promise you, dude, I'm going to do this with you and we're going to finish. I have to say that because frankly, when I was younger, I tried to do it with a friend also, and I didn't finish, and it's not cool. And I just think like, okay, basically what we're saying is get a friend to do it with, because that makes it somewhat more practical. The idea of what we're talking about today to you is like, you're sitting at home, you want to make a movie, we are doing it, and we are trying to remotely make this more of a practical situation for you. It doesn't really get more practical, but at least we can tell you the realities of what it is, so that you can seriously process for a second, okay, this is what I'm getting into, and try to make that active step into doing it. I think
ideally the coolest thing about this would be if we could actually like inspire anybody who's like teetering on the edge of really wanting to do it to even start. And then if we were to get a message of like, dude, I'm working on something, I think that, because as we said earlier with don't do it because you think it'll be some grand thing, that's like as far as if Hollywood is going to call you or something, but your grand thing can be showing it to your family in your living room or watching it with the friend you made it with. Like,
yeah, like you don't need to think about like, is this going to be good enough for Hollywood? Is this going to be good enough for me? Is this going to be embarrassing? Is this going to be cringy? I think that's one of the main reasons that you probably don't try to make it, is because you're like, I'm not good enough. Well, what I'm trying to say is like, these are real thoughts that you can break down and work through. So like, let's say that, okay, well, I'm not good enough. Well, I wasn't good enough either. I wasn't a DP, and he's the audio guy. He wasn't an audio guy, and we weren't good enough. I watched so many YouTube videos where DPs like Wandering DP or people like Lewis Potts, him, all these like Cinematography by Roger Deakins. Like, I watched hours and hours. I mean, like 3 hours a day of YouTube about how lighting works. And when we started out, to be honest, like I was a director, and so I would hire DPs, and I kind of knew a little bit about lighting, but I just learned it all the way. I learned it good enough to show you like, this is kind of the look of like the frames that we have of some of it, but like get good. Okay, you're not happy with, you don't think you're confident enough to make something that would be worth spending that much time. Well, learn it. Like you have an internet, back in the day when these people were doing this, they didn't have Shot Deck or the internet. Like it's way easier in the modern day. Like, be glad that you're in this modern day where you have cameras that do like put that perspective into your head. And you're like, okay, wait, this is incredibly easier for me than it now. There are some other things that are harder in the modern day, like art direction and things. And we'll talk about that when we talk about a video in art direction. But like, the ability to get in the door and try I mean, come on. Like, what do you get an
Yeah.
FX30, put a stupid lens on it, and call it a day? You know, I mean, but when you get that FX30 and when you put that cheap lens on it, squeeze all the juice out of it. You know, like make sure that you understand lighting and like get good locations like that. I guess now the point we're getting to, which is like another main point, is like, if you're going to do it, if you're going to find a friend, or you're like braver than we are and you're going to do it on your own, okay, cool. But then you got to fucking do it. You really gotta do it your best. And that means a lot, you know, it means like so much more.
I think we talk about people all the time that a lot of the, you know, whatever, they work a job, so do you, whatever. But a lot of the things that they do creatively or whatever is like on the side, which is how you would be doing this. But it should be like the only thing that you're doing on the side if you want it to be worth anything.
Well, and just like, don't like take a stab at it like an old college try. Like this is the time. Like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna invest. Maybe we invested so far like 3 years of our life into it. I'm not just gonna like try again next time if I hate it, you know? And so you kind of do need to realize that you're getting yourself into a situation where the reality is that you're putting so much time that you can't hate it. That's not really you have to do good. You gotta show up and knock it out of the park. And you know, that comes to every aspect of it. That comes to the casting, the wardrobe. I think like a lot of people, they think like, well, I'm just like trying, this is my first round. I'm gonna like, I can't get all these locations. I can't get all this casting. I can't get all the, not everything is gonna be good. And it's like,
I think also
screw that, you know?
a lot of people probably, you have like a story that you want to tell that is like something you came up with that you're so interested to put out there because you think it's unique or that it would be an interesting thing to watch. And that is very important, but you're making a movie. And I tend to think of movies as every bit of art. Like there's music in there. You need to have like a knowledge of fashion, a knowledge of interior design, a knowledge, like it's literally everything that art is made up of. So if you're like have this idea of a story that you really love, you need to, before you even start shooting it, probably think way farther than that of how you're gonna make it look and what vibe you want it to have, what style you want it to have. Because if any of those other parts are lacking, aside from your cool story that you came up with, it's not going to work.
Yeah, nothing can be lacking. Like, you have to realize that. Like, there's no part of this where it's like, well, you know, obviously it's like camera and sound. Everybody knows that's straightforward, you know, but what about the art direction? What is in the background all the time? Every little thing in the background, every item, every magnet, every newspaper, every tiny little detail on their clothing. There's so much details that we're putting into this that is like, it's just, you can't be like, well, but it's like, hold on, challenge your thinking. Can you get the U-Haul? If you can get the U-Haul to fill up the truck to get to the, how much money is that? Like, we're about to be spending how much on one outfit, which seems ridiculous because our total budget is around like, I don't know, $30,000.
Yeah.
And I think we're spending around 5,000.
No, it's three.
Okay, 3,000
yeah.
on one outfit. That does seem like, do we need that? Can we try on our own? And it's like, we have all these conversations on the phone all the time where it's like, I think so. You know, I do think if this is for the film, if this is the movie that we're making and this is our big attempt at trying something and we're doing our best, what does that mean? Does it mean we do that with that outfit?
We buy the one for 300 or do we get the one made
buy the
for
one,
3,000?
buy the expensive one and try so you don't feel like you're filming like some halfway scene where it could be better. You know, I think people are too afraid to invest everything because they're just like,
I mean, it would really suck if you do. And then it's
well, that's what I'm worried about now is that we invested 3 years of our life and we don't know how this is going to turn out. I mean, we can show you frames and stuff, but like seeing the actual edit is another thing that we're going to be going through and doing videos about and like how it's working. And maybe we'll show like small clips and like talk about like, all right, here's what we had to do with this. I guess that's another thing is like, when you're getting into it, it's such a marathon that you're getting into, and it's so emotionally taxing and so like my wife has to deal with me pacing around the house. Like my feet are getting sore from pacing so much on phone calls every night where I'm basically just venting to Dean about like, I don't know if this is right. I don't think this is just not going to be. And it sucks because now we're years deep into it. And it's like, what you have to understand, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's going to feel like you have a major mental disorder. And I will also say, just for anybody who is out there, I do have OCD. So like, you can also do it with a mental disorder. I also have like crazy other physical problems from anxiety. I guess what I'm saying is it's so stressful that like my body is manifesting physical things that are coming out because I'm also juggling doing this while running a business, and that business is having like email hackers going on while all this is
Don't hack
happening.
his email.
It's so crazy stressful, and like then you got to deal with just normal life, and you don't even at a certain point you don't even have your normal life because you're like investing. Like today would be my day off, and I'm working on this YouTube video to try to explain to you guys, because the reality is I think that this YouTube video will be a good marketing avenue for the movie. Like everything in my life is dedicated to trying to make this thing happen, and it's so stressful. And I guess what I'm saying is like there's a show called The Bear or something where there's like cooking going on with these. Watch The Bear. It's cool. It gives you a perspective of like stress is a part of it. And if you're not willing to be super stressed and super, super uncomfortable, like, I mean, more than you can even imagine, this just isn't going to work. And these days in the modern day, there's so much like culture on Instagram and social media telling you that like don't overwork and don't get yourself to this point of like being a crazy person from working so much and you're like spread so thin and you're sweating and you're not eating properly and you're not like, this is not how movies were made that you like. Like these people were on drugs because they were so stressed out. And like, so I'm saying like, don't think that life is going to be organized and sweet. Like it's going to be that all your shit is all over the place and everything is just like, oh my God. But like, know that we're in that situation and we're doing it because we want to complete a challenge. You know, you don't climb a mountain and not look at your hands and be like, oh my God, I'm bleeding everywhere and I haven't eaten and I had to go to the bathroom on myself while climbing the mountain. Like that's what you're getting into. And like,
yeah, I mean, there's been that I don't have a wife and kid, but I have a girlfriend, and say I can relate a little bit. I'll be talking to Kyle for X amount of hours and I'm, you like Kyle more than me, whatever. It's like, no, we're really doing some serious stuff, and it takes a lot. And I even remember times like, you know, dealing with certain actors that are maybe more difficult than others, and like having literally one day to get this stuff that's going to make or break the film. If you don't film it that day, then you might not see them again. And like, you get done with that day and it went the way you planned, and like I got home and wept in the shower, you know, like just so happy that it got done. And I didn't know how much stress I was feeling leading up to it, knowing that it can all come crumbling down if we didn't nail it that day. And I think there's just a lot of that where we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but it's definitely worth it, I would say.
Maybe. And we'll find out, you know, we'll find out if it was worth it. I don't think, you know, I guess, yeah, back to the root thing. It's like, okay, you want to make a movie. Cool. Be realistic and know that it's really hard. I'm not trying to talk you out of it because I think it is incredibly beautiful and cool to try hard things. Like that's the point of stuff, I think. Like, why not try something hard?
Yeah, we toy with an idea. It's like something that you say that if you're going to be doing this, like make sure that you can like literally be a professional at the things that you're doing. So if you're going to be the DP of your movie, you should at least be able to take gigs as a DP. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah, like if you don't think that what you're doing is good, like, yeah, we already said this, but like get better and stuff like that. But
well, I would just say about the journey of it. Like obviously you were a semi-pro at DP and you were able to guide me into audio enough. Like
I started learning DP work when I had hired DPs, but I never shot any of our stuff.
I
you
guess
know?
that's what I'm trying to say is that if you take it serious enough and really go through it, then aside from just having a finished movie, you will have skills that you didn't know before at all. Like, I feel like at this point I could do wardrobe or I can do production design. Same with you. Like, and we probably couldn't have done that before, but throughout the whole process, we learned a lot about location scouting and just dealing with people and every aspect of it. We got really good at it, I would say.
Yeah, and so I think you're going to try to make a movie. The point of this is to inspire you to make a movie. Okay, now you know it's really hard. Let's talk about a few quick things that are like reasons that you might still not be down to jump in the water. Money. Let's say you don't have the money, right? We didn't have the money either. We have about $30,000 that, yes, his grandma is funding for us. And we also have a guy named Larry that's giving us a little bit of money as well. But when we locked into this decision, we didn't have the money and we were going to still try our best with that. Now, having around a little over $30,000 to make a feature film over a matter of 3 years, like, now that I realized it's taken us 3 years,
Also,
I
it's
could have self-funded that with my side income per year. You can find 10 grand a year. You can find that.
It's much closer to 4 years at this point. It
Well,
was
yeah.
November
So
2021.
let's say now it's 7,000 a year. You
Yeah.
can find that. And if you can't find that, well, there's other things to think about. Like possibly, I don't know if you're still drinking or doing any sort of extracurricular activities where you can cut your budget. I quit drinking 3 years ago and all of that money I have and it's helping me with this. And I think that, like, again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your life. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people will say, I can't do this because, and the cold reality is like, it's not really like that. Like you can figure out how to, you don't need all the money at once is what I'm saying. You don't need $30,000. You need $2,000 to shoot this one part. And then later you need another $2,000 to shoot that one part. But you have that and you're just saying you don't, but
And
you do.
Also, I think at a certain point we realized that we could do something maybe beyond what we originally imagined, and we kind of made a point to like keep going further. But I think if we never secured any money at all, I think we would have figured out how to do it for incredibly less.
I would have just been paying the 2,000 per scene slowly. I would not have
Yeah.
it yet. We'd wait another 4 months and then I would have it and then we'd shoot it. Like that's the thing is, like, a lot of people are like, I don't have money. Like the type of budget we're talking about, you probably do have it. If you bought a camera, you do have it. Now maybe you have less than that, a lot less, but you don't need to make something that spends that much money. But that's just a little bit about money. Let's think of another reason why you say you can't. Maybe you're like, I don't know, there's the not good enough thing. What are other things? I think people say they don't have enough time. And that's also just complete bullshit. Like, to be honest, you do have enough time. You're not making enough time. You are not making enough time. If you are ever doing anything that is not something that is like paid work that you're busy actually doing, if you're at the park, if you're at the pool, if you're playing video games, if you are out with your friends, I just don't do hardly much of that stuff. Like, for the last 3 years, all of my free time is going into today. Right now, we're making this YouTube for this reason. Like, you're telling yourself you don't have the time, but I have a full-time job where I'm working probably like 50 to 60 hours a week, every single week. It's a company that I own. And Dean maybe has more time than I do in that regard, but I also have a brand new baby. I have a wife. I have, a lot going on, and I'm still making time to do this. I just don't take that. If you're saying I don't have the time for that, it's like, it's just not true. You need to do small bits of time. Well, I mean, it's a lot of time, but it's over a long period of time. And you got to commit. You got to make changes in your life to make the time if you want to do it.
Even like my perspective is a little bit interesting. Like I don't do anything at all besides the movie. I've been like unemployed for like 2 years because I have like some thing in my head that if I were to be worrying about anything else, then I would be doing a disservice to this film and what it could be. And I don't want to live with that, because the only thing I wanted to do with my life was make a film. Like, from the moment Kyle met me, that's all I said I wanted to do, was just make one. He would always be like, surely there's something that you want in life more than that. And I was like, no, if I did that, I would be able to just die happy right there. It's like the one goal that I have. And I just, I sit with my girlfriend and I think about the movie. I'll text Kyle stuff that I'm looking at. I do dabble with, some stuff in my free time, like video games or whatever, but I don't do anything else. I don't go out. I don't have friends. I just think about the movie all the time.
There's two more points to this. He has more time than I do. We had to have a cold reality conversation one day where I had to tell him, listen, a lot's going on with my business. My business is either going to fail, or you need to pick up more weight on this than me right now. You need to understand what we're into, and you have to do more things than I can for this film. You have to. I wanted to be involved in every single process, every little interview of every cast member, of everything. I'm approving everything together with him. Like, we're always talking like every single day, a couple hours about things. But there's just certain, like, he's got to go to the scouts. Like, he's got to send me videos of stuff 90% of the time. Sometimes I'm going, obviously, a lot of times.
All the shopping, all the talking.
He's just got to be, it's like, okay, dude, you don't have as much of a full-time job that you have to do. So can you do more than me, and you gotta, and then you gotta go down this path. Okay, there's a lot to talk about here that I'm unpacking, but like, then you gotta go down the path of like, okay, we agreed to do this. We're co-directing. We're doing this together.
Everything.
So now if I tell him, you gotta do more than me, I don't want to deal with later him telling me or anybody else that this is more of his movie than me.
Yeah, no.
And it's this weird ego thing that if you are going to do something with someone, you guys need to start with a really weird conversation that is super like, dude, are you going to get cocky? Are you ever going to act like this is your show? And like, I want it to be my show. Like, it's got to be this equal thing. And like, or it'll just always get weird when it comes to ideas, when it comes to who's working harder, when it comes to like, if it ever does good and anybody compliments, it's hard to explain this weird ego conversation that you have to have, but you will have to have that. And then that's a little bit of just a tip I can say is like, if you get into a collaboration with a friend, a lot of people I know, they get into collaborations with friends and eventually it doesn't work out. And I just think it's not working out because you guys are going into a collaboration without the reality conversation of like, we are going to be around each other a lot for years right now, and we need to be in a healthy relationship seriously.
And maybe you have some like weird ulterior motives. We didn't necessarily have that. Our goal was, let's just make this movie.
Well, if you do, say it.
Yeah.
Say, I want some weird, like, people are afraid to tell people that, like, they're just afraid to talk to people about true things that are actual weird things. Like, it's like, I want, I don't know. I didn't have that.
We can like cut this out, but we like,
anyway, all this is to say that like,
be upfront, be honest about what you want from the situation. And I know personally, I didn't want to be in it alone. That would not have been as fun. And I don't want to do anything in the future without somebody involved, preferably Kyle. Like,
I think there's a million more things we could get into. Like, it could be like, my gear's not good enough. We're shooting on Sigma lenses. It could be like, we don't have crew. It could be so many other things. But I think the last thing I'm going to say is, once you get to the point to where you're like, you're going to get either one or two places after this. Okay, I'm fired up. I think they're right. I am going to try to do this. I am going to try to make a movie eventually. But what I would love is if you are not going to go through all this, if you're not going to do all this and seriously make a commitment to say, I can try to do that, stop telling yourself and other people that this is what you want to do. Because you don't want to do it. I'm just being real with you. If you want to do it, do it. And if you don't, stop lying to yourself. And if you're not willing to commit to stop lying to yourself and say like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not cut out for this, then buckle up and get to it. That's that's it might be a little harsh to say, but it's like, I just think you need to hear it. I think if you're sitting over there and you're like, I want to make a movie. Yeah. I'd like to be a filmmaker. Until when? Like, you do this year after year after year. It's been how many, 15 years that you want to be a filmmaker? Like,
I mean,
try to
there's
make a film.
probably been times where we're 4 years deep into this, whatever, sacrificed everything. And I think if we have conversations with somebody who talks about wanting to do film, it can almost like seem disrespectful or something, in a way of like,
Yeah,
why
it's
are
almost
you
like,
not?
you are not. You are not. And I think we can like wrap this up.
Yeah, I
but
think
if you do want to get yourself into this crazy situation, you may need a bit of like therapy at some point. Send us some messages. We're happy to like talk to you about like things being challenging.
yeah, if you need us to go deeper into anything we talked about, or anything else you want to talk about a film you're working on or want to work on, we're here.
And we do still have a lot more videos coming that are more technical specific aspects. We just sort of thought it might be good to like say, if you're even going to be watching this channel, the type of people that we want to watch it should probably watch this first.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be real. Most people are going to watch like the first 2 minutes of this and like check out and won't even get to this point. But if you did,
nice.
Yeah.
All right, see ya.
Goodbye.
Cut.